All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Today, we are talking about master's and doctoral studies at the Free University Berlin and the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. Before we get to the actual webinar, I'd like to introduce myself and our guest speaker for today. My name is Hani Geis. I'm the DAAD representative in the San Francisco office. I'm responsible for the Western region of the United States. And with us today, we have Katja Simons, who's the executive director of the German University Alliance and German University Alliance. Katja will talk a little bit more about that later. But essentially, she's representing the Free University Berlin and the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. Welcome today, Katja. I'm very happy you can join us from New York.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and hello from New York.
And so we will talk today. Before we talk about the universities, I just briefly wanted to talk to you a little bit about DAAD and most importantly for you, the scholarship opportunities that DAAD offers on the master's and the doctoral level. And then we'll jump right into the main part of our presentation today and talk about the two universities. And then we will have a lot of time at the end where you can ask your questions. And the way we do it is two ways. The one option is you can just type in your question as we speak, and then I collect them and I will ask them, Katja, later in the Q&A. But you can also, if you would like to ask your question live, you can also before you type your question, you just enter live so that I know that you want to actually ask that question. And then it's not going to be me who will ask the question. You can directly speak with Katja. So just let me know if you would like to do that. Otherwise, just send me your questions and I will collect them and ask them later. So before we begin, just a few housekeeping things. So first of all, I record this webinar and I will upload it on YouTube later today, and I will send you a follow-up email with a link to the presentation, to the recording. The presentation is actually available as a handout on your screen. On your GoToWebinar tool, there's a handout section and there's one document uploaded, and that's the presentation. You can download right away, but I will also upload that later in our archive, and I will send you the link in the follow-up email as well. And of course, as I said, please ask questions as they come up during the webinar. But of course, you're more than welcome to send us also questions later on if you have any questions in the future about any application process or questions about our organizations or universities. So just as a reminder, if you're not familiar with the GoToWebinar tool, as I said, here in the handout section, you will see the PDF for today. If you have trouble with the audio, at some point you can just switch between use mics and speakers and the telephone. And if you want to type in your question, you can type in those questions here. And I encourage you to really type in your questions as they come up. So you don't forget them, and I can also collect them. So before we talk about the universities, just a few remarks about the German Academic Exchange Service, or DAAD, Deutscher Akademischer Austauschdienst. So DAAD is actually at this point an organization that's fairly old, founded in 1925. And we represent higher education abroad in general. We're the National Agency for International Academic Cooperation and Exchange. And we do provide general advising on study and research in Germany. Our websites do have a lot of information on that. If you just would like to know more about studying and research, just generally speaking, without really specifically targeting a specific university. And then, of course, we do also offer scholarships and grants, and these are available really to all academics at all stages in all disciplines, and important for the US because I know there are a lot of international students who have a degree from a US institution or pursue a degree at a US institution. International students are also eligible if they pursue a full degree program here in the US or if they have a degree from a US or Canadian university. So with that, I just wanted to briefly mention two scholarship opportunities, grant opportunities that are available, and the deadlines are actually coming up here very soon. The first one is the study scholarship for graduates, and that is a scholarship that funds living expenses for students who would like to pursue either a full master's degree in Germany, or if they are master's students in the US, they would like to maybe spend a year at a German university, they can also apply for this grant. This is available for students who are currently seniors or who graduated, and you can apply within 6 years of graduation, of your graduation date. There are about 60 awarded annually. You will receive 750 euros a month, health insurance, and also travel stipend to travel cover the travel costs to Germany. Again, the deadline is November 4th. It's an online application process. So you need to make sure you actually meet the deadline. And for anyone on the west coast of the United States, that's actually in the afternoon of November 4th, because the deadline in Germany is 11 p.m. November 4th. And an additional scholarship, and just let me again, for this scholarship and also for the research grant that I will talk about here in a second, you don't necessarily have to study anything related to Germany, or it doesn't have to be in German. It just has to be a relevant topic that you want to study in Germany, but it can be in the STEM fields, and we're going to talk about that today as well, or in any other field, but it doesn't have to be a program in German or anything really specifically related to German. And now the research grant is another opportunity for you. This year, we will also be able to offer this grant for anyone who's interested in pursuing a full PhD, and that will be 3 years after getting your master's degree. And I know Katja will talk about that a little bit here also later on. But this is also available for students who study on a master's level, maybe already have a master's, or work on a PhD in the US and would like to just do some short-term or long-term research in Germany while they pursue their graduate degrees here, or as kind of a after graduation additional research. Essential for the research grant is an invitation by the host institution. For both of those funding opportunities, you don't have to be enrolled at a university by the time of the application. But for the research grant in particular, if you would like to do research at a research institution, you will need an invitation by the host saying that you can actually do your research there, and they provide you with the resources. Again, the next deadline is November 4th for short-term and long-term. There is for this one an additional deadline early May, but that one is for the short-term ones only. And with that, I just wanted to leave you with a few websites and links. DAAD.org is our website for the US, and we are on Twitter and on Facebook, Instagram, and also, in fact, Pinterest. And you can also subscribe to our newsletter, DAAD USA, that comes out every week, and we have information on available scholarships and grants and deadlines, but also online and offline events that come up. And with that, I would like to hand over the microphone and share the screen with Katja, who will be talking about first the Free University Berlin and then the LMU Munich.
Great, thank you. Hello, everyone from New York City. Thank you very much, Hanni Geist at DAAD, for this opportunity. Can you hear me well, Hanni?
Yes,
Yes,
we can.
okay. All right, my name is Katja Simons and I'm the director of the German University Alliance, a joint liaison office of two universities in Germany, Freie Universität Berlin and LMU München. My office connects North American students and researchers with study and research opportunities in Berlin and Munich. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook, and we would love to stay in touch with you. This webinar will cover information on how to pursue an advanced graduate degree in Germany, in particularly at Freie Universität Berlin and at LMU München. A quick view on our webpage, germanuniversities.org, two top universities, two amazing cities, LMU München and Freie Universität Berlin, are consistently top-ranked universities in Germany and Europe, and both cities are among the top 4 best university cities. Since you are considering the idea of pursuing a graduate degree in Germany, let's have a look at the academic degree structure. There are 3 cycles in place. The first cycle leads to an undergraduate qualification, of course, and the second one leads to a 2-year master's qualification. Doctoral study concludes the third cycle. Doctoral studies in Germany range from an individual doctorate to a structured program. Often these structured programs are called graduate schools in Germany. And I admit that this can be a bit confusing to an American audience, since graduate schools typically requires you to have a master's degree before enrolling in Germany. However, there are some programs that are open to students with a bachelor's degree too. This is noted in the box below. Qualified students holding a bachelor's degree may be recommended for a PhD fast track, linking master and PhD programs. If applicable, that means if the program you choose offers the fast track option. And in Germany, master's degree programs are classified as either consecutive or non-consecutive degrees. A consecutive degree builds upon the knowledge learned in a preceding bachelor's degree program. And at the 2 universities I represent, many of these consecutive master's programs are research-oriented, and many of them are aligned with doctoral programs. A non-consecutive or continuing education master's degree is not related to the content of a previous bachelor's program. Many of these master programs require professional work experience in addition to a university degree. And this type of degree may be a good fit for those of you who are returning to school after having been working in the field for some time. I will now spend a few minutes talking about how to apply for a master's program, and then also share some information on how doctoral studies are organized at Freie Universität and at LMU München. Let's first talk briefly about language requirements. There are a growing number of English-taught master programs, and for those programs, you don't need to prove any German skills. Proficiency in English is required, but if you received your undergraduate degree from an institution with English, which is of course the case here in the US as its official language, or if you are a native speaker, you don't need to certify English language skills. Other languages might require certain or some subjects might require some language skills that you need to certify. If you're enrolling in a German-taught program, you will need to submit proof of language proficiency. Always check which language requirements are needed and which certificates are accepted at your university of choice. Now, let's talk about common procedures and requirements when applying for a master program. The application procedures vary by university and sometimes by program. For example, if you apply to a master studies at LMU München, you will have to submit your application directly to the university. First, you will need to apply for admissions directly to the program, to the master studies office, and then you will have to have your admission letter, or before the deadline, you will have to pre-register with the international office. And if you apply for a master program at Freie Universität Berlin as an international student, you will have to submit your application via the online portal UniAssist, uniassist.de that you can see on the slide. This organization reviews whether the application meets the formal requirements established by Freie Universität, and then sends your application to FU Berlin. A piece of advice: in general, the processing of an application takes about 4 to 6 weeks. Towards the end of the application deadline, it takes even longer, and therefore we recommend that you submit your application at least 4 weeks or even longer before the deadline over via UniAssist. And otherwise you can not be informed about missing documents in time. And there's some general requirements that you will most likely see across programs. For example, a general requirement is a bachelor's degree for a master program, and it's important to know that not every undergraduate degree qualifies you for every master program. In many cases, you are required to have a certain bachelor's degree or certain credit points in a specific field of study. You also have to prove that you are qualified. How you are asked to prove this varies. It could either be through an excellent undergraduate degree grade, or through a selection process or an exam, or both. And for most programs, as a part of the online application, you will also need to provide documents such as your CV, copy of bachelor's certificate, transcripts of records, including completed courses and final grades, and so on. It's all listed on this slide. And please don't hesitate to contact the universities directly. Every program has a program director and a dedicated coordinator who will answer your questions. And you can always, of course, contact my office. Now, applying to a structured PhD program like master's program, the PhD program application procedures vary by university and by program. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to do a PhD in Germany, you can either pursue an individual doctorate or a study in a structured program. And remember, in order to apply for an individual doctorate and for most doctoral programs, you will need a master's degree or a similar degree. For international students going for a doctorate to Germany, I recommend a structured program, as you are much better integrated into a network and curriculum. And as a general starting point, you should search for open calls for PhD programs of your interest. We often post open calls for doctoral programs on our website, and you can find complete lists of open calls on the university's web pages. Then you will need to select and apply to the program, of course, of your choice. And next, upon admission to the program, you must apply to the department for admission, called Zulassung. And finally, after acceptance to the department, you will formally enroll as a doctoral student with the Central Student and Administration Office. A note about funding PhD programs: sometimes the program offers grants or paid positions, and sometimes you will have to look for external funding. You can also, of course, check the DAAD's website for additional support. The programs Hanni Geist mentioned are relevant in this case. Yeah, so let's move on to Freie Universität Berlin. I will first highlight a few features and open calls at Freie Universität Berlin, and then do the same for LMU Munich. Freie Universität Berlin is, as the name suggests, situated in the capital of Germany, of course. Berlin was recently named one of the top 10 cities in the world for university students, and for its many universities, cultural activities, and professional opportunities. Berlin is also becoming widely recognized for its booming economy and exciting startup scene. And recently, Freie Universität Berlin was named the most popular destination in Germany for international researchers and scholars by the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation. Freie Universität Berlin is a large public university that offers a wide range of study and research opportunities, such as ancient civilizations, literary studies, mathematics, and so on. And there are also unique area study programs on cultures and civilizations in regions around the world. And Freie Universität Berlin is, as I mentioned, a very international university. As I mentioned on the previous slide, there are over 100 master's programs offered at FU Berlin, and more than 20 are taught in English. And here's a selection of international master programs, which are taught entirely in English. The list highlights programs in social sciences and in the humanities, though there are an additional 12 programs offered in the natural sciences as well in English. Complete lists can be found on the website and also on our website. I will just introduce you to one of the programs here. The master program in sociology, European studies, is focused on the sociological inquiry of European societies in a global and transnational world. This program is unique in that teaching and research are carried out in close cooperation with leading research centers and institutes in Berlin, like the John F. Kennedy Institute for North American Studies, the Institute for Latin American Studies, the Berlin Social Science Center, WZB, and so on. And application to this program requires a bachelor's degree with a sociology component. The program is taught both in English and in German and English, so you don't need to prove German, but you have more options if you know German. Applicants can apply via UniAssist, and the next application period opens in spring, so you have a lot of time to consider this program. The next I quickly want to mention is an interesting program in the it's called the Master in Visual and Media Anthropology. This is a highly international web-based advanced degree program educating media professionals. And in addition to e-learning, this program offers 2-week blocks of in-house courses. Eligible applicants should have a bachelor's degree, basic technical skills in film or in photography, and 1 year of related work experience. This program is an exception to the general application process at FU Berlin in that the applicants apply directly to the program, not through UniAssist. The next application period begins early next year and ends in April. Yeah, and with this, I'll move on to doctoral programs at Freie Universität Berlin. Here you can see some of the diverse graduate schools within the university. And then I'll just highlight this program offered at Freie Universität Berlin, which is called the Berlin Graduate School Muslim Cultures and Societies. The area of study includes Muslim societies in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, Europe, and North America. It offers research-oriented curriculum for doctoral students. This is a 3-year program with an October start date. It says winter start only. That means in Germany, the winter semester starts in October. It has just started this week. Eligible, and the application periods now starts for the next year, and you can see the deadline is November 18, so you have still some time to apply if you're interested. All right, so I have a list here. We have that on our website too. And of course, the Freie Universität Berlin has all these open calls listed as well. PhD programs that have an opening right now. Finally, I'd like to mention that there is a Center for Early Career Researchers, the Dahlem Research School. It provides support and services for doctoral students and not only welcome services, but also career development support. It offers workshops, seminars for doctoral students so that they can develop research-related skills and management competencies. So there's also a career service included. All right, now I'll move to the south of Germany and present Ludwig-Maximilians-Universität in München in more detail. Munich is a fantastic, vibrant city and the capital of Bavaria. Munich is known as Germany's primary hub for higher education, research, technology, and media. And it's within easy reach to the Bavarian Alps. So Munich also is widely recognized for its renowned museums and cultural festivals that make it an exciting place to live. And in the heart of Munich is LMU, a very old university, over 500 years old, has a long outstanding tradition and is ranked in many rankings as a top one in Germany. LMU offers study programs in a variety of disciplines and many research opportunities ranging from ancient studies and area studies with an emphasis on Eastern Europe to neuroscience and translational health science. LMU is even larger than FU Berlin, with over 50,000 students, 15% of which are international students. There are over 130 master's programs offered and 35 doctoral programs. Of the many master programs offered, 24 are taught entirely in English. I have a list here of natural sciences and life science programs. A complete list of the programs, including many in the social sciences and humanities, can again be found on our webpage. And I'll just move on to and highlight one of those programs is the Master of Science in Biology. This is a 4-semester program, offers state-of-the-art education in a wide variety of biological fields. Eligible applicants must have a bachelor degree in biology or a related field. And to apply, you must submit your application directly to the Faculty of Biology and to the LMU International Office. The next application period will begin in spring. Also here you have a lot of time to prepare. Another interesting program, master program in psychology, is the program in learning sciences. This is a 4-semester research-oriented interdisciplinary program that promotes a selected group of highly motivated students to engage in state-of-the-art research in an international emerging field of the learning sciences. Applicants should have a bachelor's degree in a related field and prior knowledge of learning sciences and research methods. Interested applicants should apply via an online tool on the program website, and the applicants will be required to complete an interview for admission to the program. And in this program, also an internship is included. The next application period begins also early next year. And just to mention that you can find current and past students of these and similar programs on our website on germanuniversities.org under Student Stories Alumni Connect. For example, you can read more about how and why they choose to study in Germany and their experience throughout their programs. For example, the woman in the middle, Tahara Larocque, is a master's student in geology at LMU. The lady next to her is April Möller. She's also she's now a PhD student. She was a master's student in the learning sciences, and you can get some very good advice from these stories and be inspired. All right, I'll move to doctoral programs. Just some examples here at LMU, and I'll highlight one that has an opening right now. The Graduate School Life Science Munich offers an international doctoral program in life sciences covering many areas. Research training will be supplemented by seminars, retreats, methods, courses, training in transferable skills, and participation at least in one international conference. For this program, applicants must have a master's degree or, in special cases, may be admitted on a PhD fast track if they only have a bachelor's degree. And the program is generally takes about 3 to 4 years, and candidates may apply through the online tool that you can find on the website. And as I said, the call is currently open and will close in end of November. And here also a list of open calls at LMU München. There are quite a few graduate schools with openings right now. You can see if there's something that works for you, and then study the website in detail. And if you have questions, get back to me or the program coordinators. They have all the answers. Yeah, and also finally, I'd like to introduce you to the LMU Graduate Center. It is the Central Coordination and Service Unit for Doctoral Studies at LMU München, optimizing the conditions for PhD students. It offers advice and support, and you can expect information, advice, support, travel grants even, and a wide range of courses in transferable skills and career development. And I just wanted to mention one last thing. To end this webinar, this presentation, the cost of living, very important, and housing. Finally, let's look briefly at the cost of living in Berlin and Munich. Because of the low or no tuition, in some cases like the Master in Visual Anthropology, you do have a tuition to pay, but in most cases you only have a semester fee, and that covers public transportation and access to cultural institutions, so you really get something for your semester fee. Mandatory health insurance and cost of living. I advise you to start your accommodation hunt early. That's a tricky part in both cities, because they're sought after cities by students. So it tends to get a bit crowded in October. But if you start early, it shouldn't be a problem. You should look on the websites, on the university websites, and look for housing, and you will find information also about student housing. Okay, all in all, there are excellent options for graduate students at LMU München and FU Berlin. The German University Alliance is the liaison office, and we offer advice and connect you with opportunities in Berlin and Munich. Please stay in touch. We're on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always call or email me. And now, thank you for listening, for your interest, and thanks to Hanni Geist for moderating this, for offering this opportunity. And with this, I give over to Hanni.
Great. Thank you, Katja, for this very informative information on both universities. I will start off with a few questions. Actually, we're at the point where we're turning on our camera, so you can actually see us. Hello, everyone. I don't have any questions yet, but I invite you to type in your questions. Again, if you would like to ask them live, just write live so that I can unmute you. I have a few questions for you, Katja, just to start off the Q&A. So can you just give a little bit more information about potential internships while students are studying, opportunities as part of programs, but then also maybe work opportunities during or after the degree? Is there any support through the universities, or are there actually any internships that students can do or are open to students from those universities?
Yeah, great. That's an important aspect of studying, is to gain practical experience. And some programs, as you could see, one included a 10-week internship. I think that was the one in learning sciences, and others are open to that. So you could include an internship in Germany while you're studying, and you can get advice on and information on internship opportunities in Berlin and Munich at the Career Service Center. Every university in Germany, and of course Berlin and Munich, they have a Career Service Center that will support students with finding internships during their studies. And then when you're done with studying and you have your master's degree in your pocket, then you are permitted to stay on in Germany and to look for employment. And you have 18 months to do so and to find employment commensurate with your qualification. And so there's time, and Germany is actually interested in keeping you when you have gained a degree in Germany and offer you jobs. And of course, the universities have career services. You have to, of course, be proactive and kind of build your CV also while you're studying. Internships are important, and then see that you, of course, know German at the end of the studies, so that you have a better chance on the job market.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then an important question also, how about your alumni? Can you give us a little bit more specifically for students that you know of who came from North America, from the US specifically? What are they doing now? Are there in any companies or any positions you can talk about that are relevant to the field?
Yeah, we have one story of a student who did from North America, who did her master's in Germany and her PhD, I think, and she's featured on our website, and she is now not in Berlin or München, but in Heidelberg, and has a job there. So yeah, it's many of our students, alumni, pursue careers in a variety of fields afterwards, in business, public administration, in science and medicine, and many of those who actually continue to do a PhD and then actually want to stay in academia, many of those come actually to the US and study as postdocs or work as postdocs in the US at elite universities. So the question also about transferable degrees, all that is what you have when you study in Germany. Your degrees are recognized around the world, and you also have chances on the job market in Germany and at many other places. Our alumni can be found all over the world, from New York to London to Vancouver to Sarajevo, to Bangkok and Abu Dhabi. So we're an international crowd.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I do actually have a question from the audience. The name is Moinalini. Maybe I don't pronounce it correctly. I apologize for that. But the question is, the student has credits already in the graduate on the graduate level, and I have 68 credits or so in a related field. So the question is, can these credits transfer, and will that help in potentially pursuing a PhD on the fast track?
I have to say it depends on the program,
Mhm.
on where the credits are from, but I'm sure that if you find a program, a master I think you're interested in a PhD program, and then see what they are running online, but also get in touch with the program coordinator to ask kind of these specific questions that would be useful. But in general, credits that you have from studying here in the US or in other countries can usually are counted, but it depends. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I invite you to ask a few more questions, but one question that I had for you, Katja, how about language classes? So for students who pursue a degree program in English, I know from personal experience, like a lot of students, while they're interested in programs in English, they're still open and interested in learning German. How feasible is that? Is that actually possible for students who are not enrolled in a program that offers German as part of the program to still take classes in German, maybe get a certificate to then find an internship maybe in German? How is that at the two universities?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important actually to study German on the side then, and the universities offer free courses for their students. So if you're enrolled at the university, you're in a program, you can take advantage of their language classes for international students. So they support that. They want you to learn German, and it's actually makes life easier, and you better kind of integrate in daily life, and also then afterwards in job opportunities, internships, and work when you know the language. Yeah.
Okay. Another question on the doctorates. The question was, and I think that's an important question. So the student has actually a professor at the Technical University of Berlin. So she knows someone at a different university, but now asks if it was possible to do collaborative research project at the Free University Berlin, and maybe some or at the LMU, and do collaborative like research, and to have one person at one university, like basically have different committee members at different universities, or do the committee members need to be at one university?
Yeah, good point. Actually, I did my PhD, and I had one it's called in German Doktorvater. One supervisor was in Berlin and the other one was in Bochum. So it's possible, especially when you do it when you do an individual doctorate together with a supervisor. And in a structured program, you will have several supervisors, but I'm sure they're flexible, but I can't really answer that question if it's possible to have several supervisors in one if you're in a structured program. So I would always check and talk to the people you're working with and see what they say. I think they're always interested also in students and doctoral students that are, in a network and are active themselves, and yeah, they can see that you have a specific interest that you would want to pursue. So that's always positive. Yeah.
And then we have another question from a different student, but that's also in relation to a PhD. That's actually Rim asking, what should a student do in the common case where a university asks for proof of finance or grant, while the scholarship giving institution asks for an invitation from a university? So I'd like to actually say something to that first, and then maybe you can add to that. So an invitation doesn't necessarily for DAD specifically, it doesn't have to be an already like an enrollment or like an official contract. An invitation sometimes would mean, and that is particularly true if you're interested in research and in a PhD position that's more individual, is then we ask you to have already been in touch with the university, and that proof can be even through email conversations that you can show the committee. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an official contract yet for to be eligible for the program, and to show the committee that you've already done your research and you have the connections to Germany. So that just for DAD. And then Katja, do you want to add?
Regarding funding or finance, I mean, you do have to, if you want to study in Germany, you have to prove that you have enough funds to basically live in Germany. So I'm not sure, the universities will not ask you how much you have, but I think for visa questions and residence permit, you need to prove that you have enough funds. And you will find, I think you will find all that information on this DAAD website, study-in.de, a site for international students where you can get information on all these important questions, practical questions like finances, health insurance, and all that.
And then oftentimes for PhD programs, correct me if I'm wrong, Katja, but they do also offer scholarships, or you can apply for scholarships.
Absolutely.
So it's not like in the US where a lot of times PhD students automatically get funding. That's not always the case, but there are a lot of opportunities, various opportunities for you to do get funding while you're a PhD student or a master's student.
Yeah. Especially these graduate schools that have open calls right now, they do offer paid positions or a compensation package. So some of them can be really attractive in terms of funding and all that. So you have a good status as a paid doctoral student, and so it's pretty attractive. Yeah.
Okay. So we're actually almost 10 minutes past the time. If there are no more questions right now, again, you can always get in touch with us at a later point. You will find our contact information in the PowerPoint presentations that I will also send in the follow-up email. I would like to thank you, Katja, for joining us today, for your presentation and for all this great information. And thank you to our listeners. And hopefully I get to see you or hear from you sometime soon. Watch out for any other upcoming webinars. Specifically in the spring semester, we will have a few more general webinars on pursuing a degree in Germany, so you can get a little bit more information generally on the process of applying and how it is to be a student in Germany. So with that, I would like to thank you. Thank you, Katja, again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you to our listeners, and I hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.
Bye.